I think it's finally time that we explain Halloween Ends. Let's get into it.
I shot him 6 times. This guy, man, he's not human.
What's up, I Like Scary? We are back. I hope you guys are having an awesome day. I'm having an awesome day. It feels great to be a horror fan. So, you all, today I feel like this has to be done. Me being a diehard Halloween fan of, a purist, whatever you want to call it, I think it's time that we take a deep dive into Halloween Ends and what really happened and what they, tried to accomplish or what they did accomplish. I want to get into it, but before we get started, definitely smash that like button because it definitely helps. So, okay, Halloween Ends, the ending of a crazy trilogy, and it's just with all of this, all these films, 2018 Kills and Ends, it was a story told from different angles, in my opinion. It was a story told. A lot of the story was based off Laurie. A lot of the story was even based off Michael's story. And then we kind of got the town story and everything like that. And, depending on who you are watching me right now, you might even say Corey had a story. But I want to get deep into Halloween Ends and just kind of including the trilogy and everything also. So, Halloween Ends, it's taking place right after the traumatic ending of Halloween Kills. Now, we've seen how Halloween Kills ended with Laurie at the end saying the more he kills, the more he transcends to something that cannot be defeated with brute force. While they were trying to defeat that man with brute force. And Michael rose up. He took the mob out. He went over and he actually, he killed Karen, Judy Greer. He took her out. And right before that, something interesting that, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird when you think about it. But when Karen looks up at the window, she see Kid Myers standing in the window, and she looks. Or we see Kid Myers standing in the window. Almost like a hint, almost like a hint. But Karen goes upstairs, and then Michael actually steps behind her and kills her. Now, that kind of made me think that it was us getting told that Michael's coming back home. This is where he's going, where it all started, where it all began, Dr. Loomis said. And I think that was them telling us he's going to come back to that window. Even the guy in the flashback, sometimes they said he used to look out his sister's window and looking at Haddonfield and things like that. They were telling us, guys, about what Michael was doing and everything, and almost, not a motive, but a reasoning, him just wanting to go home. We found that out in Kills. He just wanted to go home, and it was just stages of him, getting through those layers to go home. Now, we hop over to Halloween Ends. Now, before we get started, I want to, with the deep dive of Halloween Ends, I read this book front to back, and it explains a lot. If you haven't, I recommend you read Halloween Ends to get more of a deeper understanding. So, it picks up with, how to feel going through trauma. You're seeing Oscar's mom and everything be just being dead, and you see Laurie seeing it, and Laurie's kind of telling us what happened in Haddonfield and how she's pushing forward through all this trauma. And now look, a lot of people say how Laurie's not affected by her losing her daughter and everything, and she loves pumpkins and she loves baking pies and everything. Meanwhile, she's went through a lot with Michael on Halloween night, but now she loves it. I think, you guys, it's deeper than what we think. I think that basically Lori's done been through so much her whole life. You have to think in Halloween 78, Lori actually was innocent. She was a babysitter. She was in school. She was a girl that was trying to find, like love. Ben Tramer, she saw Annie and Linda dating guys and getting, the things they're doing, going on Halloween night. She wished she was them. Shockingly, you guys, she wished she was them. And she just had to babysit two kids, Tommy and Lindsay. She didn't get to, sit down with a guy on the couch and end up in the bedroom. She did not. Then she wanted to do that, and she was innocent. She got turned into a final girl literally overnight, and that's where her life started. That's where she, where she became Laurie Strode, and she became a part of Michael Myers' story. And to kind of push forward with that, with 2018, she was traumatically, traumatized by it. She was preparing for Michael's comeback, his return and everything, and kills. She thought she took him out, and she found out she didn't. And it ends, she was trying to basically push forward. She was trying to push forward and forget about it, because I feel like, to be honest, people are forgetting after what Hawkins told her. I think that's a key point. When Hawkins told her in that hospital room that it's not about you, Lori. It never was. I think it actually hit home for Lori. And I think that answers our question about, Lori wanting to push forward with life. Because after someone tells me that and it hits home, it's like he only wanted to go home and all of this crap, and Michael was just on his own time. It was never about you. Dr. Zartane brought Michael to you. Hell yeah. I mean, I'm still preparing. Not prepared, but I'm not going to go full-blown Rambo. I'm going to be cautious, but yeah, I'm going to kind of let that go if it's not about me. I'm not going to start poking a bear, if that makes sense. But in the book, they kind of say a lot of things about Lori actually just going through a lot of stages of her being messed up with alcohol. And, it was a part in the book where she actually just crashes out at home, and she's no clothes on, laid out on the floor type thing, and people were trying to take advantage of Lori, if that makes sense. But yeah, and to kind of dive into more of Haddonfield, they were affected and infected, by this thing that Michael did, this evilness that he had, this dark cloud, and kind of explained that in the beginning with the two couples in the Jeep, Oscar's mom, and remember Hawkins said Michael doesn't use guns. It was almost to the point, like Sheriff Brackett said, he's turning us into monsters. The town actually got converted over into monsters. Remember that scene with Karen in Halloween Kills where they're banging on the door. She's just like, wow, look what he has created. We had to worry about one, person. Now it's almost like we have to worry about the whole town of Haddonfield. The guy jumps to his death. It was more of a story of showing that it's bigger than Michael Myers. Personally, in our eyes, from all the years we've seen, AMC Fear Fest and, just all the movies and in the franchise, it was surrounded around Michael. We had different timelines with the Cult of Thorn, the sibling, you name it. But with this one, I think it kind of overall explained that it's kind of bigger than Michael. It plays off of a concept where evil was inserted into him, and Michael's the carrier. He has the baton. He's the one, he's the source, And when we see this film, we see that Allison and they're trying to adapt back to life. You got to think, guys, this thing that happened, this traumatizing story happened in one night, 2018 in Kills. They took a time jump to show us that they're trying to adapt back to their regular life, because Allison got pulled into this. She didn't listen to her grandmother, and you remember towards the end of Kills or the middle, she's like, my grandmother was right, the boogeyman was real. And I think that's when it hit her. And seeing Cameron get took out, and her mom and her dad, and now Allison is becoming her grandmother. She's lost people from Michael, and so they move in together, and I think that was a great idea to because they're both going through the same thing. But I think that it plays off of just them trying to push forward out that traumatic experience and just being regular humans, and not just that case of two humans suffering from things in the past that doesn't even, base the whole situation off them. You know how Hawkins said, it's not about you, Lori. But, you know, and when you think about it, they all had their own stories in this. Corey had his traumatic story, Allison and Lori. Now, I think that's another reason people are forgetting that. When they're like, this is a love story, but it also is a story of attachment, because it's like, when you sit there and think about it, they both had, you know, a crazy story. Allison, you know, she dealt with Michael Myers, and even Corey said, they said, I know, you survived Michael Myers. So that was them basically exchanging their story and everything, their traumatic experience. And I think that's why Allison accepted him. And you remember he told Allison, I killed someone. He told her, I killed someone. And that probably went over a lot of you guys' heads, because people were probably saying, is he talking about Mulaney, or is he talking about Jeremy? And at this point, I think it was almost like a twist. I think he was actually telling Allison that I killed Mulaney, because she kind of knew of that also, because the story, you know, of Corey Cunningham. So I think he was actually telling her, and I think it's that's a big moment. You never thought about that. That I think he was, I killed someone. And she accepted it, because that evil, not even just, it wasn't no transfer. I want to say that. It was no transfer of evil, but we're going to get into that. It was not any transfer of evil, but it was more of that presence of, you know, that shape of evil, if that makes sense. But anyways, that's why I think they clicked a lot, because they shared a story, and it was like them against the world at this point. They've been through enough. People give them a hard time, and they only have each other. And they were bouncing off energy, and they were like, you know, this metaphorical saying to them, I'll burn it down. And it was just them against Haddonfield at this point. You know, they found a strangely type of love, and it connected. And yeah, and the thing has it, you know, in this book, once again, we find out that Corey was just not a nerdy type of kid. He went through a lot with his father. He went through a lot with his father not being in his life, getting, you know, going through things with no father. Joanne, almost, I don't even want to say it kind of, but she was a messed up person. His mother killed her sibling out of jealousy when they were younger. So technically Joanne's a murderer. She killed a sibling. And I mean, it just makes you think. And you know, they can't explain everything in a movie, but Corey might have been that like shape of evil before Michael. It just, Michael brought it out of him. And you guys probably like, what are you talking about, Brandon? Remember, I told you it's going to get deep. Let me tell you. So if Corey already had all this traumatic stuff in him from his mom being weird, remember she kissed him, and him just having a rough household, him not being able to spread his wings and have freedom of that sort, and none of that crazy things as a teenager, what you should do, go have fun with friends. That's why when he got to finally go out with Allison, he's dancing. You know, after all this traumatic stuff, I'm free. I found someone I can rock out with. And he goes back home to reality. And remember Ron said, you know, I hope you find love. Because he knew that Corey was crying out for help, and he needed help. He had a tough life. That's why Ron gave him a dirt bike, things to help him. You see what I'm saying? It's all coming together, right? And Corey just had a crazy experience. Now, we don't know if Michael had a rough household or anything. You know, we don't know if he had a rough household. We just knew Michael killed his sister. But to jump over to this you know, this sewer scene and this cave scene, we go down there, and Michael chokes out Corey, and this is a scene that explains it all for me, and they talk about it in the book. When he grabs Corey, you got to think, Michael heard the situation on the bridge where he gets flipped over and he falls. Michael heard it. He came out and he drug Corey into the cave. He drug him into the cave. Michael seen something in Corey. That evilness, and think about it, this is about to explain it all. And I hope this helps you guys with a different set of eyes when Halloween ends. When he drags him in there and you know, Corey's looking and he's searching for it, just the fact that Corey did not run out the cave and he's starting to be aware and searching, that's another flag. And seeing what's going on. And then he goes in there and Michael grabs him. And we see like these flashbacks of Jeremy's death and all of this crazy stuff. And I think Michael's seeing it in him. The same thing that guy seen when he pulled up the owner of, Jeremy's dad, the owner of the house where it happened. He said, I seen and looked in Corey, and that wasn't the kid that cut my line. Lori, she said it. He had the same look as Michael did. It's the look. It's not an evil transfer. So if Corey is going up to people and are saying this, Michael's saying it also. And he always had it in him, obviously, because when Jeremy locks him in, I mean, we're all adults here, but he was actually kind of tripping out, over the dark. He's like, come on, Jeremy, let me out. And from my understanding, I want to say that for one of his punishments, maybe I'm wrong, he used to get locked in dark spots. Maybe I'm wrong. I know this book has a lot of detail, but that plays a part. He was traumatically, abused. And that's why he's like, come on, Jeremy. And he had the fire in him. He had it in him. It was like it just something brought it out of him. And Michael brought it out of him. I think the presence of him saying that Michael Myers is real, his legend, his story, everything about Michael is real. He is a person. This guy that DJ Willie the Kid is talking about on the radio throughout Haddonfield every day. And, Allison's everything. He saw him for himself. So Corey's been through so much. I feel that he wanted to make Haddonfield feel it. He wanted revenge on him being bullied, him being called a baby killer, everything. I don't think it was him being forced to do it. Corey wanted to, and he found the perfect excuse, and he bumped into Michael Myers and saw that it's a person out here that really took out, citizens from Haddonfield and did this, and they're afraid of him. And I think Corey wanted that power, and he finally got it. And that darkness came over him. No energy transfer, no evil transfer. And I think that's why, and to be honest, if it was an evil transfer, when he's killing Nurse Dead, Michael killing Nurse Dead, and everything, he wouldn't even need Michael, because he has the evil, he has the power, he has the supernaturalness. He goes on doing his own thing. He do what the fucks he want. But when you sit here and think about it, he told Michael in that cave, teach me. That's another key highlight. He said, teach me. Show me how to do it. And he said, get up. He wanted that power. He wanted that image. He wanted that presence. He wanted that shape of evil hovering over him to put fear in other people. Also, when him on the stairs and Lori, he was like, you should give in. That was the power. It wasn't anything that was spiritual or nothing. Once he seen Michael, he connected with that source of evil. Him just seeing Michael as a real person and getting choked out, and Michael seeing that in him, and Michael did not do anything to him. You got to think, Michael killed so many humans, but he didn't kill Corey. That they speak about that in the book also. It's like, he didn't kill me. I'm special. He didn't kill me, so I'm obviously like him. And that's what's going on with Halloween Ends, you guys, with Corey. I think it's bigger than what you guys are thinking. And more, I read this book, and the more I put things together, it makes sense. The key points are there. David Gordon Green, he did a great job, with certain things, like what I'm pointing out. When he said, teach me, show me how to do it. And he's like, get up. Because now he looks at Michael like this alpha, this big, safety bodyguard. That's why he compared it to my bodyguard. It's like, that's why it all makes sense. Think about Arnie Cunningham and Christine. Christine protected Arnie, and he found this source. And Arnie started gaining like emotional power, knowing that he was protected finally by Christine. That car will not let anything happen to Arnie. Remember, it killed the bullies. Michael was the car in Christine. Michael was the car. He was the one that, because he knew, he understood Corey. He knew that Corey already had it in him. It wasn't no point of, even pushing Corey, because Corey already had it in him. Just the fact Corey brought Mulaney to him in the cave. He had it in him. It just, Michael brought it out of him. Him saying that a person that's been doing this for years is still doing it, it just motivated Corey to finally let it loose. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, people, it's based off my bodyguard and Christine, because people being protected. And I think that's why when Corey seen Michael get up and he's stabbing him and he's helping him, he knew that long as he had Michael next to him, he's protected. But once he seen how powerful he was, and how Corey started doing it on his own. He did it on his own. And when you think about it and you push forward through with it towards the end, that's why when Corey, grabs Michael and everything, he realized, you know, kind of the innocence in himself, I feel. You know, he realized that, like, you know, I don't want to do this, but it's too late. And that's why I think Michael's like, oh, you're not like me. You're not like me. And he, you know, he takes him out. You know, he takes him out. So I think it's a lot more to be explained. And that's pretty much a little bit of the deep dive with everything. It's so much more to talk about with this. And I think that I want to start doing these deep dives with, you know, Halloween, because it's deeper than you guys know. And I got the whole trilogy of books, and this just had me thinking. I'm like, I have to tell these guys this. Remember that once you click off this video and you know it's ended, remember, he told Michael, teach me how to do it. Get up. And remember what I told you, Corey's background. Remember what I told you, traumatic experiences that him and Allison shared. That's why they connected off that strange love. Remember Lori, what's going on and why she decided to push forward. Remember what Hawkins told her. So, yeah, you guys, I don't want this video to be too long. That's why I'm probably trying to split it up into parts. So, unfortunately, this is the end of the video. But definitely comment down below your thoughts on everything we just talked about. Let me know if this helped you. Let me know if this, you know, got you to see Halloween Ends from a different angle, and let me know if you want part 2 of this video, because it's so much more to talk about of this deep dive. We haven't even dived into Michael and how he was injured, and how, you know, more of Corey and Lori, and more of the final act, and more of the whole just like body of Halloween Ends. So let me know if you guys want part 2, and definitely let me know your thoughts on what I said with this video, talking to you guys about your thoughts, because this is a good one. We dived deep. You see how deep it feels now we're towards the end, how, you know, we dived that deep and pulled out these little meanings out of this movie that people are overlooking. So let me know if you want part 2. Unfortunately, this is the end of the video. Don't forget to hit me on my social medias at ILIKESCARY on Instagram, ILIKESCARY_ on TikTok, Brandon on Facebook, ILIKESCARY on Twitter. And yeah, you guys, right there where it says join, definitely click join and become a patron, get exclusive content and benefits of the channel. Also, so make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video. Yeah, you guys, I want you to watch some horror movies. Stay scary out there. I love you all. Peace out, guys. Until next time.